First trade of the trade deadline day. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. With me is Dave DeFore. We're going to be breaking down all these trades here on the Athletic NBA Show's YouTube page. First trade, Buddy Hield to the Philadelphia 76ers for Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, and 3 second-round picks. Dave, how did this deal strike you when you heard about it?
I mean, I would love it if Joel Embiid was healthy. Yeah. Buddy Hield is exactly the type of player that Philly has needed around Embiid, and especially now with Maxey. This is a very good trade for Philly when they're fully healthy. Question is Embiid coming back? Buddy Hield is going to be a free agent this summer. My assumption is that Daryl Morey and the Sixers have been able to have conversations with Buddy Hield and his team. They probably have an idea that they're able to retain him. They're going to have his bird rights. So this could be a move that if Embiid's back this year and he's going to be healthy, pushes them in the playoffs this year. But I think potentially this sets him up for a run next year when you've got a fully healthy Embiid who hopefully isn't being pressed by a 65-game sort of limit to win awards, and he can make it through a whole season healthy. He's never had a shooter like Buddy Hield playing around him ever. And with his improved passing, I think Buddy Hield's life, his shot diet will be the easiest of his life too. So this is a win-win for Buddy Hield and for the Sixers. The Indiana part of this, I don't love, but I guess they got some picks.
They got some picks for a guy who had already vocalized that he did not want to be in Indiana. Mm-hmm. And which is unfortunate to me because I feel like Buddy's he's not like the reason, but he's like he's like a small piece of the pie as to why this Indiana team's been good, because he takes 7 threes a game and shoots 38%. And like the gravity is there for him. And it really does help that team function. And I'm interested to see what they look like after this deal, because they got worse today. And this is about asset management for them. And I get it. But also it's like a little bit disappointing because he's part of the reason why they had so much juice. And I agree. I love it for the Sixers. I think this is a deal that is really helpful to them. You have to have a healthy Embiid, but you have Tyrese Maxey, who has like shot the lights out this year from 3. Then you add another 40+% shooter to this team. I know he hasn't been that this season, but like we all know Buddy Hield, when he's wide open, is going to be a 40+% shooter on this Philadelphia 76ers team. It just gives Embiid more space. And it gives them one more shot maker. It allows them to play the way they want to play. I love it for them. Also, another thing to love is Furkan Korkmaz finally got his
trade out.
The Furk out of there. Good job. It's it's just funny, that this is kind of how it happens. But if you're Philly, you have to go for it if there's even a chance that Embiid can come back. And if Embiid comes back and he can play in the playoffs, like this is a really great deal. Also, to me, I think the Sixers, if they do believe that he's coming back, which is kind of signals that they think he is. I don't think you do this. He's not, because of the expiring contract of Buddy Hield. You got to do more, because this isn't going to get you to the Boston level, in my opinion. This isn't even like I know Milwaukee's been weird, but like in the playoffs, like I think you just have to have more. We've seen the Sixers go to the playoffs time and time again, can't get past the second round. Push all in. This is, if you believe that, to me, I believe that this is Joel Embiid's best season and maybe the best he's going to be. Push all in. Don't do this like half measure Buddy Hield trade. Like, it's a good deal, but I don't want to like overblow it, because it doesn't push them into like favorites in the East or anything like that. Right. Like, it makes them better and it makes them more interesting, but this isn't quite it, in my opinion. Like, they need to continue to push in, and it could even help them stay afloat while Joel's out, to push more in, and then just like have this roster that's actually ready to compete, because in almost any given series, they're going to have the best player, but the roster isn't quite there yet, in my opinion.
Even without Embiid, and especially now with Buddy Hield, they have enough offensive talent to bum hunt. Like, they should be able to stay in the mix for home court in the East, just because they're going to play enough bad teams in the East, right? I mean, I make the joke all the time that they get to play the Wizards 14 times a season. I mean, it is true. They play like the bums of the NBA a lot. And so with Maxey and Hield and Tobias Harris, I think that's enough to keep you afloat. It's do they have enough defensively to stay afloat when Embiid's not out there? And then are they going to be able to ease Embiid back? Or is it going to be a situation where it's like, oh crap, we're the 6th seed. Joel's coming back. Hey, we need you 35 minutes a night right away. Because I think that's also a mistake. They need to ramp him up if he does come back this season. I think I'm with you that they need to do a little bit more. My concern is putting your chips on the table now instead of this summer.
Yeah.
If Embiid's not going to come back, you're going to have more options on the table this summer. It might be better to just say, hey, look, all right, we got Buddy in-house. We're going to bring him back for sure. Maybe there's someone else, but if there isn't someone that's going to move the needle like big time, and I mean someone better than Buddy Hield even, then maybe you keep the powder dry. If this is Embiid's not going to be ready, you keep the powder dry. You try to do something this summer. But I'm with you. Like Embiid he's at the peak of his powers. Who knows how long he can maintain this, just given his physical issues. You kind of got to go for it if he's going to be ready. And they've been very vague about this knee procedure and the injury in the first place. And you have to wonder, is this a little bit of subterfuge? And maybe it's not as bad as we're making it out to be. And he's back in 6 weeks. Don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either. I have doubts, but I hope that he can come back, because I do think this version of the Sixers, and it's been a journey for Sixers fans to get to this version of the Sixers, but this version of the Sixers has a chance to really make some noise if Joel Embiid is healthy. And then again, from Indiana's side, this is just
they're worse.
They're worse, and it's just a way to acquire some second-round draft picks, which, I'm not a huge fan of this. I don't like it. I kind of want. I think it's a weird trade after getting Pascal Siakam and like going all in, and then and then it's like no, we're gonna do some asset management. Like if you're in, just be in. Like if you're all in,
they have enough youth that it's okay if you lose Buddy Hield for nothing. I think this team, I want to see them push to try to get home court in the playoffs, not go backwards. I care. Maybe I care too much about playoff appearances and having a good product to put out for your fans. But I think it should be important for teams like the Pacers to make the playoffs regardless. This is not a team that should have a championship or bust mentality.
Yeah,
it's just not.
They're only 2 games back of Philly.
Yes,
with injured Embiid, and they could be in that 4-5 matchup. And with the Knicks all banged up, if the Knicks can kind of stay in that position, which they're ahead enough games of these 2 teams that they could. Like, would it be impossible for Indiana to go and beat the Knicks if they're not fully healthy? Like, no. But
Dante DiVincenzo has been cooking though. I don't know. Dante DiVincenzo as your number 1 guy in New York, looking pretty good. So they might have a tough time.
And we don't know what New York's going to do today. So that's all. I mean, that's all fair. Like they could get better today too. But could the Pacers make some noise? I don't know. They got a little bit worse today. So don't love it from their end. Hey, we will have every single trade on this site for you. Make sure that you're subscribed to the Athletic NBA Show YouTube channel and stay locked in.